Hello, this is Yuanze Xia, and my presentation is about how to develop maintain organizational culture within complex multi-organizational environments. It reviews organizational culture theory and critically discusses how multi-organizational corporations could develop and maintain organizational culture. The presentation includes four sections to imply four theories relevant to culture and communications. The culture iceberg theory maintains Hofstede's culture dimensions, the five dimensions of organizational culture, and cross-cultural conflicts in the communication process. For cases, higher group, Shanghai GM, Starbucks and Costa Coffee are applied to support the analysis based on the identified theories. Iceberg theory of culture suggests that they are both visual and non-visual parts of culture or values in organizations, similar to the floating ice in the water. Sadia's iceberg theory believed that human behavior is like the tip of an iceberg emerging from the surface, and most of what is hidden in the deep water are human attitudes, feelings, beliefs, and expectations. In multi-organizational culture, we should not only pay attention to surface culture, but also pay attention to perceived deep culture. Higher group is one example of successfully analyzing and combining the visual and non-visual culture in the operations to pursue its competitiveness in the complex global market. The visual culture includes its vision, mission, and identified values and code of conduct. The visual culture in the organization by referring to the illustration in the official website includes its efforts of having high quality products and services, the support of interactive communication to build boundaryless ecosystems and to conduct full scenario solutions. The non-visual culture includes value, beliefs, and intrinsic preferences of the employees. They are retrieved from the national culture of China, values and preferences of the founders and the previous organizational operations and organizational culture. Hofstede's culture dimensions provide the framework of analyzing culture differences from five dimensions: power, distance, individualism, and masculinity, uncertainty, evidence, and long-term orientation. The national culture of China and the United States are significantly different as the representative culture of the Eastern and the Western countries, respectively, as identified national culture of the two countries are significantly different by referring to the power, distance, individualism, and long-term orientation. Organizations to effectively respond to the significant culture diversity in the global market are to support the continuous learning and improvements of their employees. To properly learn culture, diversities of national culture, and to develop cross-culture capacity capabilities of employees in the complex international context. Shanghai GM, which is China's largest Sino-US joint venture so far invested by Shanghai Automotive Industry Corporation and General Motor Corporation is an example of learning organization to audit and respond to culture diversity of China and the United States. The corporation indicates risk of a latecomer by supporting learning of individual employees and developing learning culture. The study concept is based on the complex culture background of multi-organization employees, advocating each person's different contribution to organization. For example, the organization when entering the Chinese market are having uh, delicate deli- are having delicately training on the ex- expatriate employees about the Chinese culture, Chinese manners of doing business, and the basic Chinese law. Besides analyzing the country-level cultural difference, there are also studies on the organizational culture dimensions to have deeper examination on how to manage organizational culture within complex multi-organizational environments. Jones identified five dimensions of organizational culture, which are dominant culture and subcultures, strong culture and weak culture, mechanistic and organic culture, authoritarian and participative culture, and the national culture vs organizational culture. The five dimensions of organizational culture provides the path for the managers to develop their organizational culture after they have determined the type of organizational culture they intend to develop. By referring to the organizational culture development of Starbucks, there are five dimensions to maintain and develop the organizational culture. The dominant culture is to emphasize customer service. It is strong culture on emphasizing experience marketing. It is organic culture to support the interaction within the organization and with the customers. It is participative culture to encourage employees engagement and customer engagement in the operations. Starbucks adapts its organizational culture in different countries where it operates. However, it is a challenge for the corporation to achieve cost-effective operation while developing culture diversified operational practices in different countries. The fact is that costs are required to support its developing diversification. The culture diversity as identified are indicating potential conflicts facing corporations within complex multi-organizational environments. Managing culture conflicts in the communication process are required to to adapt and respond to the significant culture diversity of business units facing traditional corporations. Culture is one type of noise in the communication process, during which message is exchanged under significant impact of external environment. Innovation and problem solving are to emphasize culture communication conflicts, which are essential facing traditional corporations when they conduct their operation in different countries and cultural backgrounds. Costa Coffee is facing various noises, including the cultural conflicts when the corporation conducts interaction of employees and customers from different country and cultural background. It is an example of performing innovation and problem solving in developing its organizational culture. In 2012, Costa Coffee decided to launch a project called Project Malo to promote a new type of coffee sales globally. This project involves hearing, vision, taste, and smile design to perfect its decision making. The non-programmed decision they make are innovative decisions made by an organization's decision makers in response to a challenging organizational environment with increasing uncertainties. In this way, Costa eliminated the time wasted in uploading and distributing information while also reduce conflict in the cross-cultural interaction. However, the organization shows limitations of teamwork to audit and respond to the cultural uh, diversity, leading to its conflict in the workplace. The organization is to develop its teamwork by following recommendation of APM, which suggested that teamwork is a group of people working together or working through cooperation to achieve a common goal. To sum up the research analysis, how to develop maintain organizational culture within complex multi-organizational environments based on the four theoretical framework: the culture iceberg theory, Mansberg, Hofstede's culture dimension, the 5 dimensions of organizational culture, and the cross-cultural complex in the communication process. It also refers to business based on their operation to have variable recommendation on handling culture issue facing multinational corporations in the global market. Analysis on higher groups shows the significance of incorporating visual and non-visual parts of the organizational culture as a whole. Analysis on Shanghai GM infrastructure culture diversity of national culture to indicate the significance of promoting learning in organization to improve the employees' culture awareness and cross-cultural effectiveness. Analysis on Starbucks suggested that costs are required to support its developing diversification based on organizational culture dimensions. Analysis on Costa Coffee identified cross-culture communications and the significance of innovation and problem solving on the teamwork to solve the problem. Thank you, that's all.